Welcome to World Life Story in the farthest reaches of our planet, where silence stretches farther than the eye can see. A vast white wilderness dominates the horizon. This is the Arctic, a world of ice, wind, and endurance. Here, survival is not guaranteed. It is earned. Amid this frozen expanse lives one of Earth's most powerful and misunderstood predators. A creature shaped by cold, patience, and time itself. The polar bear. This is the story of a lonely journey across melting ice. A journey of patience, struggle, and survival. The Arctic is one of the harshest environments on Earth. Temperatures can plunge below -40 degrees Celsius. Storms rage without warning. Food is scarce. And yet, life persists. For thousands of years, polar bears have ruled this frozen kingdom. Perfectly adapted to the cold, they roam across sea ice, tundra, and icy waters that would mean instant death for most other animals. Their white fur is not truly white, it is translucent, reflecting the light of the snow and ice. Beneath it lies a thick layer of fat, sometimes over 10 centimeters deep, providing warmth and energy during long months without food. This is not just a bear. This is a survivor. The polar bear's body is a masterpiece of evolution. Its massive paws act like snowshoes, distributing weight to prevent sinking into soft ice. The rough pads and sharp claws provide grip on slippery surfaces. Its powerful limbs allow it to swim for hours, sometimes days, across freezing waters. Unlike other bears, the polar bear is almost entirely carnivorous. Its life depends on one primary food source: seals. To hunt seals, patience is everything. A polar bear may wait beside a single breathing hole in the ice for hours, sometimes days, unmoving, silent, invisible against the snow. One mistake means hunger. One success means survival. Few animals on Earth understand patience like the polar bear. Hunting is not a chase, it is a test of endurance. A waiting game played in absolute silence. When a seal surfaces for air, the polar bear strikes with lightning speed. In a single moment, weeks of hunger may finally end. But patience is not just for hunting. Female polar bears show remarkable endurance when raising their young. Pregnant females dig snow dens in the Arctic tundra, where they will remain for months without eating or drinking. Inside the darkness of the den, cubs are born blind, helpless, and tiny, weighing less than a kilogram. Their mother will not leave them until spring. Her survival is their survival. When spring arrives, the mother emerges from the den, thinner and weaker, yet determined. Her cubs now follow her onto the sea ice, where they must quickly learn how to survive in a world that offers no mercy. She teaches them how to walk on ice, how to swim in freezing water, how to hunt, how to wait. But many cubs will not survive their first year. Cold, hunger, and predators take their toll. Only the strongest will endure. For the polar bear mother, loss is part of life. Yet she continues, driven by instinct, strength, and an unbreakable bond. For thousands of years, the Arctic remained stable. The ice came and went with the seasons. The polar bear adapted to this rhythm. But now, the rhythm is breaking. Climate change is melting the Arctic sea ice at an unprecedented rate. Each year, the ice forms later and disappears earlier. For polar bears, this is catastrophic. Less ice means fewer hunting grounds, fewer seals, longer swims, greater exhaustion. Some polar bears are forced to travel hundreds of kilometers in search of food. Others wander into human settlements, driven by hunger, a dangerous encounter for both bear and human. The ice that once defined their world is vanishing beneath their paws. This is the lonely journey across melting ice. A polar bear stands on a shrinking floe, surrounded by open water. The reflection beneath it mirrors not just its image, but its uncertainty. Where once there was endless ice, now there is distance and risk. Swimming long distances drains precious energy. For cubs, it can mean death. For adults, it can mean starvation. The polar bear keeps moving, not because it wants to, but because it must. This is survival in a changing world. Polar bears are not just powerful, they are intelligent. They remember hunting locations. They learn seasonal patterns. They adapt behavior when conditions change. Some bears have been observed hunting birds, scavenging whale carcasses, or even using objects to distract prey. These behaviors show remarkable problem-solving skills. But intelligence alone cannot replace ice. No matter how adaptable, The polar bear's fate remains tied to the frozen ocean. The polar bear is more than an animal. It is a symbol of the Arctic's beauty, a symbol of nature's strength, and now, a symbol of vulnerability. When the polar bear struggles, the entire Arctic ecosystem is under threat, from seals to fish, from plankton to seabirds. Saving the polar bear means protecting an entire world. Humans have never hunted polar bears on a global scale like we impact them today, not with weapons, but with emissions, pollution, and warming oceans. The future of the polar bear depends on choices made far from the Arctic, in cities, factories, and governments around the world. Reducing carbon emissions, protecting sea ice, preserving habitats. These are not just environmental goals. They are acts of survival. As the Arctic continues to warm, scientists warn that polar bears could disappear from many regions within this century. Yet hope remains. Where conservation efforts succeed, polar bears endure. Where ice is protected, life returns. The story of the polar bear is still being written. In the vast silence of the Arctic, a single polar bear walks across the ice, patient, powerful, and alone. Its journey is not just its own. It is the story of a changing planet, a warning, and a call to protect what remains. Because when the ice melts, the silence grows louder, and the fate of the polar bear becomes our responsibility. Subscribe to my YouTube channel.